Hello. It's after 9 p.m. on Monday, February 4th, and I went to Barnes& Noble after work today because I have a new writing project and I'm just folding laundry right now. So, laundry I did yesterday, but it was hanging to dry and I'm putting it away now. So a lot of sweaters because it's real cold in Massachusetts. Not today. Today it was like 62 degrees, but winter will be back next week. So I guess a little bit of background as to why I went to Barnes& Noble today and like what this new writing project kind of is. Saturday, I also went to Barnes& Noble, so 2 days ago, and I had this idea earlier in the day before I even went that I wanted to write a story that was sort of half fiction, half reality, like my life. So it was going to kind of be my way of sort of taking some things that, some aspects of my life and then like channeling it into fiction sort of. So fictionalizing my life in a way as a way to sort of process some things. And it was going to be like this really cool project where like the main character, it was going to be first person, hold on. It was going to be first person and the main character was going to be kind of talking about her author friend a lot and how her author friend was giving her all this guidance and like kind of her like voice of reason, like this person that she goes to or that comes to her or whatever, basically just kind of directs her in her life in a lot of ways. So she's going to be referring to this author friend a lot vaguely, and she was going to be talking about things and whatnot. And then like as the story went along, it was going to be this reveal that the author friend was me, like me. It was sort of a breaking the fourth wall moment. I don't know if I explained that well, but so I sat down at Barnes and Noble and started writing that. But the more I got into it, the more I realized I was just writing straight up truth, and so I was expelling a lot of my demons. I was going into my closet and I was taking out all the skeletons and laying them all out on display, and so it was like super cathartic. I cried on the drive home. Maybe that's in my last video. It kind of got me thinking. Like, I enjoyed the process so much. I wrote like almost 4,000 words in like 2 or 3 hours, and I have not written that much in a very long time, like almost a year since I've written at that sort of level, at that speed, and with that sort of frenzied intensity. And so that was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. It ended up essentially being a nonfiction essay, which revisited my nonfiction roots in college. I say roots. It definitely wasn't roots. It was more like the frayed edges. Just this one class that I took only because it fit my schedule, but I ended up absolutely loving the content and loving what I wrote. I wrote some of my favorite things I've ever written in that class, mainly because it was very self-exploratory almost, like nonfiction writing. If you've never tried it, from my experience, it's a lot like writing a journal entry, but writing it so that other people can read it. Like, instead of writing it in your chicken scratch in maybe half sentences or half formed ideas or whatever, you're like expanding on ideas, you're connecting things, there's themes, excuse me, it's a lot more, I don't want to say formal, excuse me, but it kind of, I keep burping, sorry, but it kind of is, and it's just like basically making it comprehensible for somebody and appropriate, I guess, for somebody else to read. And so it is also really cathartic, but it's also nice to write this thing and almost kind of like putting these YouTube videos up, which honestly I put up my YouTube videos sort of as like a way to document how I'm feeling about writing at different moments in my life. And I feel like nonfiction writing is a lot like that, where you're documenting your moments and somebody may see it, and something about the fact that somebody else may see it, whether it's a stranger, whether it's somebody else it's like this distance where it's like, it's okay, I'm happy to share this with somebody else even if I don't know who they are. It's like sometimes it's easier to do that than to face somebody directly. Like, it's so much easier for me to talk to a camera or to write an essay on my computer by myself than it is to maybe say these exact words and thoughts and feelings to somebody in person, or to do public speaking as opposed to speaking to a camera, because at the moment it's just me in a room with a camera, or it's just me in Barnes & Noble cafe with my computer, and yeah, there's other people around but they're doing their own thing. Long story short, I was really enjoying the essay writing, so much so that I wanted to go back today. Well, actually, I was going to go back yesterday, but I got tired from doing laundry and ended up staying home, so I was like, okay, I'll go after work on Monday. So I went after work today, and like I was kind of playing around with the idea of words that don't translate well into English. So words from other languages that there's no perfect English equivalent, like you need a sentence to describe what this word means. And so A common one maybe that you've heard of is Fernweh, which is German, and it kind of means like to feel homesick for a place that you've never been, or for a place that you've not been to in a very long time. And that was actually the title of one of my essays in my creative writing nonfiction class. And so I kind of like revisited the idea of these untranslatable words, and I was thinking about them, and I basically found like, you know, lists online that listed a bunch of them, and I pulled a few that really spoke to me or that I felt like I could write about. And so basically my new project is, I think I'm going to try to do like an essay collection, like a nonfiction essay collection, and write about, I should just like pull up my notes and tell you exactly what I wrote in my notes, kind of about what I think this essay collection would focus on. But let me start with a new word that I learned today. So actually it's two words. They kind of mean the same thing, but one of them sort of goes a bit further and I think relates more to my theme, and also is probably going to be the title of my essay collection, maybe, or at least the central theme. Contronym, which basically means a word that means one thing but it also means the opposite of that thing. So an example of this would be like the word off, which, you know, means like, for example, to turn something off, which means it's no longer functioning. But it also means the opposite of that, like to go off, like to explode, where in a sense that's kind of something turning on, you know? So like it means to go off but also to go off, you know what I mean? So that's what a contronym is. Now a synonym for the word contronym is, let me try to pronounce this right, enantiodromia, which there's this long paragraph that I found from Wikipedia. Let me just read a little bit of it to you. The emergence of the unconscious opposite in the course of time. That means after some period of time, something will then become its opposite. It is similar to the principle of equilibrium in the natural world, in that any extreme is opposed by the system in order to restore balance. When things get to their extreme, they turn into their opposite. So it's like sometimes, you know, like hypothermia, for example. One of the ways you can seek hypothermia, and I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Everest that came out a couple years ago. This is a bit of a spoiler for the movie if you haven't seen it, if you plan to see it, but basically towards the end, one of the characters gets hypothermia while he's climbing up the Mount Everest. And he's so cold that he actually, his brain is tricked into thinking that he's hot. So he starts taking off all his clothes and he ends up freezing to death on the mountain. He wasn't actually getting hot, but the point is he was so cold that he felt hot. So that's kind of what this means, where when pushed to the extreme, something becomes its opposite. So that's kind of like, if that helps you to visualize what this word antiodromia means, that's kind of like the central theme, I think, of my essay collection, where something is pushed to the extreme and it becomes its opposite. And I feel like this is like such a perfect word to explain a lot of the themes of the different essays that I had started to come up with. So a lot of the essay ideas that I'd come up with so far centered around themes of being lost. I think it's a John Green quote or something related to John Green, where he said, you have to get lost to get found. But it's basically like escapism, being lost, finding yourself, all those sorts of things. And I feel like I have been dealing with that particularly intensely, if that makes any sense, in the last few months, more so than in my last few years of living, you know? Because as soon as I got out of college, not even as soon as I got out of college, but like, okay, I'm 24. I just turned 24. I've been at my job now for about 10 months or so. And I am now at a job where, yes, I have a boss and supervisors and I have things that I have to do, but nobody's really telling me what to do on the day-to-day basis. And not just at my job, but just in general life. Like, you know, for my entire life up until I graduated college has been focused on school. You're no longer dictated by your school schedule. You know, you can essentially do what you want. Yeah, you have responsibilities like a job, or maybe you have kids, or maybe you have pets or friends and family and all bills to pay and all that kind of stuff, but essentially you can do what you want, you know? And so there's nobody really dictating your day-to-day life. But with that sort of freedom comes this sort of like, you almost don't know how to navigate, you know? Like, you have to figure out so much stuff. And especially for me, I've been feeling like that's been affecting my creativity. So, like, at first, when I graduated college, it was great. I had so much freedom. But then I quickly got bored. And so I had to get a job. But it just became like, especially these last few months, I've gotten into this rut where I started to become very complacent of not writing. You know, like I was not writing, and I was in denial about the fact that that was not okay. Like, I am a writer, okay? I have identified as little else as a writer in my life, and when I am not writing, everything starts to fall apart. And these last few months, when everything has been falling apart, you know, internally, externally, whatever, things have been falling apart and I have not been writing. So I really have not had any sort of creative outlet to express how I've been feeling. So it's all been bottled up. It's all been getting mixed around. You know, ideas and thoughts are like conflicting and intertwining until I'm not really sure how I feel about different things. But now that I've started this essay writing thing, I am like starting to get it all out, you know, and so everything that I've been feeling is starting to come out. It's starting to make sense. I'm starting to understand things. I am realizing groundbreaking things about myself that completely change my perspective on my life and my perspective on life in general and of the world. And it's just like, I don't know if I would have realized any of these things if I hadn't, I don't want to say I hit rock bottom, but it's like the closest I've ever come creatively. You know, it's been really hard, you know, and I've been keeping a lot of things inside, so, you know, it's been, it's just, it's nice that it's all coming out, you know. You might say I was creatively constipated for a few months, and I have now let it all out. So it's great. I have been feeling really great. Today was such a nice and sunny day, and I was just having such a good time that even on my drive to Barnes & Noble from work, which was like 45 minutes with traffic, I was actually kind of happy for the traffic because it gave me more time to listen to my music, which, like, sometimes I'm so into the music that that's how I feel, but I just felt really good today, you know? And I was so excited to get to Barnes & Noble. It's so nice to be going to Barnes & Noble again, you know? It's so nice to be feeling this guilt over loitering there for like 3 or 4 hours. I buy stuff, okay? I don't just buy tea, and I bought snacks and I ate today. Like, I actually had food at Barnes & Noble today, and I buy books and stuff, okay? So it's not like I never buy anything from Barnes & Noble, okay? I just renewed my membership. Get off my back, okay? I think that's all for this video. I feel good, guys. I feel good. So anyway, about this essay collection, I think it's something that I'll be working on for a few years, you know? Like, it's not something I'm trying to publish this year or whatever. I haven't even barely started writing it. But I feel like it's the kind of thing that I could write these essays throughout my 20s, you know? And then maybe when I turn 30, that's when I try to publish it. I don't know. But I just think that it would be really cool to just gather this section of my life and put it in words, you know? That would be so cool. Anyway, I'm done talking for today. I need to put my laundry away and get ready for tomorrow because it's already past my bedtime. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.